So one topic I wanted to cover for you guys here. How many of you guys have felt the burden of getting clients, getting cash, clients leaving, and then thinking that the world could fall down beside you because of cash flow issues and everything else that comes with that? Anyone? I know I have. There's a fear or a deep sense of fear in losing clients because of and then if someone does leave, there's a huge fear around being the common pattern that I see that happens because I know it's happened with myself as well. But I see it happen. Problem is client leave, you know, plethora of client leaves or whatever else, or, you know, very big, challenging experience that puts us in a position where we feel a high level of financial pressure that creates a really high level of fear, that creates a really reactive state that puts us in a position where everything is extremely heightened and makes us feel like everything is significantly worse than it actually is in reality. And it sucks. I've had the privilege of coaching like 400 plus people in this program and probably a couple thousand across other places that I've had the privilege of working with in, a one-to-one or a group environment contended, style. Um, right. Like, and it happens at sort of two levels, right? Like when you're still a bit, cash flow issues because you only have a certain amount of money and it's typically covering like rent, food, coaching, and that's pretty much it until, if that makes sense. If you lose a client, it's like, oh, fuck, I have to quit this after this and stop this. And like, it's immediate fear, immediate, everything's going to be wrong, immediate, every worst thing in the world. Right. And then again, at another stage down the track, it's like you bring team on, you have a higher going than you do some months incoming sometimes. Right. I've had experiences where we have made, 90 grand in a month and spent 84, if that makes sense. And I've been 70 grand months and, spent like 60, if that makes what else that it is. But then this month totally send you, or unexpectedly send you sideways. And there is a bill you didn't expect to come up. There is a tax fraud. There is a shit leaving that was a revenue producer for the company. A multitude of different things that could happen that put you back in a state of financial pressure in some way, shape, and form. So there's like multiple different this happens at, and it's a fucking challenge, real big challenge because it is it feels like normal to fight or flight within seconds. And because the fight or flight is not something that you've been used to in that context, it can feel like it's a world ending type experience when in reality, you guys live in a country where, right, like ever, right? Like you guys are never going to really go without. There's no real reason for you guys to have any fear behind this other than your own belief that you can't in any way, shape, and form. And I wanted to give you guys some insight around this too, right? Like, this is probably one of the toughest years for our company. And I don't mean in just financial doing okay. Like we'll still this year, and that's a bad year, right? Like the cool thing about that is that it's the past 3 years of my behavior that have allowed us to have months this year that have fucked us up, right? My past 3 years of behavior have been focused around building cash reserves for everything that I do, not just getting money coming in, but making so much cash every month that it's actually putting me in a position where the ability to, on months where we are in an absolute, and I mean an absolute, I mean like 30 grand negative, right? Handle it, right? And that does happen sometimes. It's happened, I think, twice so far this year, which means that we've been grand so far this year in a whole lot different things. And it still made me terrified. I had to continue to keep reminding myself around, how we're going to get out of this. Things are going to be okay, still fed. And, before I give a fuck about my own shit. And there were some circumstances that I couldn't necessarily be control that led to a lot of those different situations as well. Actually, in both times, it was both circumstances that I couldn't control, which is the fucked up part. Like you don't know until it happens, and then you really have to deal with it. And really saved things, like a lot of money saved up, like a lot of money saved up. It's in the fact that like I had actually set an intention. It wasn't just like, hey, I want to get clients. It's like, no, 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 no. My goal is to build cash reserves so that I have at least 6 months worth of expenses in the bank account at any point in time, right? Expenses for like my own personal stuff, expenses for the company, expenses for anything that comes through. And my goal, like my first goal financially was just get 6 months worth of like money in the bank so that even if something happened, I know I've got 5 months to figure this shit out, 5 or 6 months to figure this shit out. There is a different type of confidence that you can have when you know you have 6 months worth of runway to be able to put yourself in a position where you don't fall away, if that makes sense. And I actually, it's been really helpful for me for a really long time. And I've heard of uh, a dude named John, forget his last name, a couple of years back. He's like, I write down the number in my bank. I write down the number in my bank account in a spreadsheet every day. If I got in the bank right now, and how long will that last if all things go wrong? Right. And then if you have less than 3 months, your job is to shut the fuck up and sell every day until you have more than 3 months money in there. Because I think I think that the adverse or the worst version of this, when someone doesn't have that and they're unwilling to do what it takes to actually get that money in there because they want it to be nice and easy and simple. When in reality, that's not going to help you. It's not going to help your family. It's not going to help your future. And it actually just puts you in a really fucked up position when you actually have to deal with that. And it's only your. And I'm sharing this today with the intent, and you know that we have not like the reason that this company still exists right now, even though we're doing fine, we're actually on the upward trajectory right now for our own future plans and all that stuff as well. And it's actually really exciting. But up until probably a month and a half ago this year, it was all negative shit that happened. The only reason I was able to handle that is because I spent every waking moment saying, how do I just get cash in? Buy us time and buy us mistakes. Buy us the privilege of being able to deal with things in the ability to deal with the mistakes that come up at the same time as well. Because most people, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the quote from Jay-Z, like the most genius thing was never give up, right? And the idea of what I'm suggesting right now is that like until you 3 to 6 months catch runway and cash reserves to be able to actually do that, like just to make money. Your job is not to get best clients in the world. Your job is not to make sure your messaging is perfect. Your job is not to care about what someone is saying about you on a fucking sales call. Your job is not to care about what someone says to you in message. Your job is not to care if you get blocked on Facebook. Your job is not to care things. Because none of those people, none of those circumstances caring about whether you have 6 months of money in the bank or not. You have to fucking care about that. And no one is coming to save you. Right. And I'm sharing this because I thought like that for a really long time. And now I have to have situations where it's really scary sometimes because I'm dealing with bigger things because of bigger, like, bigger levels, bigger devils, if you want to call it that, if that makes sense. But I also built the behavior of knowing that, oh, cool, this is where we're at. I need to work this hard to make sure that is secure for this period of time. And if I don't do it, and if I don't do it, I don't get the privilege of complaining when things go wrong. And I just thought I'd share that after you guys. Now, I have two things I want you guys to do, right? Number one is like work out how much money it costs you guys to legitimately live every single month, times that by 6 and make sure that money's in your account by the end of the year. Right? If that's not there, you fucked up. Legitimately. Like, and the good news is if you actually sit there and figure that out, it's actually not that hard, right? Like you guys have a full quarter to do this, by the way. You guys have a full 106 days to do this, right? There is no reason you guys can't sign up a client a week to be able to do that and ask people for more money than you've ever asked if you are delivering what you're saying you're going to do. There's no reason you can't do that, right? You have 106 days to, because truthfully, if you go and work that number out, right, like it's substantially lower than most people say it is. It's not 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month. Right? Most of you guys could live on 7 if you fucking needed to, right? Like if you really needed, you could live on 7 grand a month, 7 to 10 grand a month. You could do it if you needed to. So you only really need 35 to 50 grand in the account. Much money. And put you guys in a position where you guys have the ability to have a level of believing yourself that you can make mistakes and be able to handle those because you have 6 months to figure the problem out as opposed to I need to have this all next week, otherwise I'm fucked. And I'm sharing this with you guys because I have seen so many people not think like that. And they are the ones who did the opposite of what happened in Jay-Z's experience, or what he said was like, the most genius thing I did was I never gave up. And it's that they find that they can't dig themselves out of that hole and they give up because they never thought about this and future paced what needed to happen for them to actually be able to prevent themselves from going into a hole like that. There's another problem that arises when that happens. It's you actually get lazy. Funnily enough, you have cash reserves for 6 months and you actually get lazy. That's a different problem to solve. And then there's different ways to actually reignite the fire again, if you want to call it that. But if you guys don't have that right now, like I wouldn't be worried about that. I'd be worried about how the fuck do I get that money, get it right now. My challenge to you guys is to figure out what that looks like 6 months worth, like what the number is, and then work out how many clients you need to sign and how much cash you need to collect every single month to be able to do that. And then I would be so fucking focused on that for the rest of the year, because that gives you guys, if you guys do that, when you guys do that, that gives you guys runway to make big risks and take big risks for pretty much the whole of 2025. Right? Giving yourself the privilege of being able to walk in and take big risks for the whole of 2025 is walking into 2025 with big dick energy. Tell me it's not. Right? Anyway, that's Chris's sermon for today. I wanted to bring this up because I don't know. No one ever taught me this. I had to figure it out for myself, and into a fear-based mindset when this stuff happens. And it's because they never thought about this stuff in the past. And I wanted to mentor you guys through this today that has no marketing and sales and everything to do with managing your to make sure that you guys can take bigger risks in future. Not for context too, right? This is like shit your fucking father should have taught you, but makes sense, right? And I didn't have that privilege. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. So that's right, Jacob, 110%. So with all that having been said, right, I want to get into the questions that you guys have that are still in the chat here too, but you guys have that you would like us questions around, like based off what I've said for clarification or for any questions or insight or whatever else that it is, because this is definitely, or if it's stuff that you want to know more about, like I'm happy to chat through that with you guys too around this. And if there's no more questions that are in the chat, if you guys do have any, just unmute because it's a small group anyway.
When you're feeling that pressure, do you have any outlets? Like, I mean, aside from the gym, like 2 times, and that relieves so much stress. Like I just did it before I call.
I was waiting let me at him. Yeah, dude, I'm like a 10,000 steps a day guy. Like I start my day with like 6,000 to 7,000 step walk, because my most stress is when I wake up every day. Like bar no other time stressed I would, like the most stressed I am on any given day is when I wake up. I know what the feeling of pressure of all the stuff that I have to do and what I'm responsible for definitely weighs in at that point in time. And I go for a walk. The questions that I shared with the guys last game, like what how would it feel if I was how would it feel if I was 150% convinced that I can handle absolutely anything to my way and any challenge that comes up? And I'm focusing on the each word. So it's like, how would it feel if I can handle everything that comes up? So it's like, if I knew I could, everything that comes up. So I do that. That's a big thing for me. Doing like straight acceptance too, right? Like acceptance of like, okay, this is where I'm at. Not avoiding the situation, but this is where I'm at. This is the current situation. These are my options. And I have 2 options. I can either be a victim about this, or I can choose or I can like put the line in the sand and say, this is the decision I need to make and walk over, do what's required to get me out of this. And I've got this long to do it in and actions that need to make it happen. And then I go and do that, or I don't. And I either get the result I want or I don't. Right. And I think, yeah, the biggest pressure relievers for me, long walks. While we're here at the moment, I love going for a really long scooter ride. Always ever hop on a bird. They're fucking great. They're probably the 2 biggest things I do. That and then just actual space, meaning like taking a day or 2 off and like recalibrating my brain and not myself out in the world's biggest way, but like actually scheduling rest sometimes. Rest, like it's it makes sense to do so. Like you don't go to the gym 7 days a week because your body needs a rest, and you probably shouldn't go to the gym 7 days a week because your brain needs a rest. There are reasons for it, but there's definitely periods where it's just a bit. So similar for me. I'm a big long walk guy every day. I coach myself guy every day, meaning that I think we are more realistic ourselves because that's what our brain is, or the unconscious or the brain is looking to answer questions at all times, right? Like if you are to go and fight a lion die to you, right? Or it can be asking like, what needs to happen for me to like outsmart this lion, right? That's a very different question. You'd have a very different reaction. You do. And I'm like a machine to make sure that I'm asking myself the right questions on any given day to make sure I have like absolutely convicted that I can make things come up. And I think that, that can come up a lot, right? Like I was chatting with colleges recently, just just chatting with some guys who are hopping on calls who are like the high levels, meaning like, doing 1.5 mil a month type levels. And he's like, oh man, what if it into the value? I'm like, what if they are there because they are, right? So it's like very different question, very different response your brain will have, if that makes sense. So I think it's a combination of all of those things. And the other one is, uh, evidence stacking, where I'm looking for evidence actually okay on any given day. Like stacking evidence up that like I am progressing, evidence I have the skills to get through, and stacking evidence up that I am who I say that I am. And I'm looking for it, but routinely on any given day at the same time as well. Because I think that we will, in many cases, we have the ability, or it's not ability, everyone's the ability, but we have the common tendency to shit talk ourselves as opposed to pump ourselves up. More of a shit talk ourselves than we do actually give ourselves a pump up. And when was the last time you guys gave yourself a pat on the Yeah, didn't see any put your hand up there, did you? Fuckers. This morning? Ah, there we go. There we go. Don't lie to me, Victor. Yeah. Was that helpful there, Jacob?
Dude,
Yeah, but
Izzy sent me a report, and I was like, fuck yeah. That was cool.
You said you got P&Ls, that was a good thing? That's good.
So every week she did a review of P&Ls. And she's like, this is where we're at. This is what we made. She's like, good job. We're here. We can pay us twice. I have set aside these 2 media buyers that we just hired on top of, and then it was like, and that's without the rest of the profits coming in on top of, you don't close anybody. We're still here. And I was like, so
Yeah, yeah, buddy. Let's go. Appreciate it. Before we move into anything else, does anyone else have any questions around the cash reserve building mindset? Because it is right, like, and it's something that I would highly encourage you guys to take on and really care about, because it is what will give you the privilege to walk into, as Jacob said, 2025 BDE.
Got a quick one, Chris.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So stress, all the pressure we put on ourselves, normal, right? And that's part of the journey. But how do you handle it when
Common, not normal, not normal.
Well, I guess I just expected it now. But how do you handle it knowing that when you're trying to
close a deal,
right? Because that's what ultimately brings in cash, right?
Yeah, but what if you're just not good yet and you need to do more now and get better later? But that's the end. What if you need to do more now and just get better later?
Right.
More that you wanted to know about that? Because it sounds like that, maybe you have a specific question you're asking around that or whatever else it is, right? Because like, there's 2 ways to make money, right? Either have a lot of a little bit of them, or have a lot of, or have a little people to sell to and close all of them, right? If you are not good at closing and you don't have that skill yet, you actually just need to try and sell more people. So do more selling, more sales calls, more sales calls, more sales calls, and don't expect to be good at them. It's do more now, get better later. Who gives a fuck? I would rather you have a 6% close rate and take 100 sales calls that close 6 clients in the next month, than take 4 and have a great 50% close rate and only close 2. I wouldn't judge myself on a close rate. I would judge myself on how many calls did I fucking get on to try and sell people. As well is like, try to get on 1 sales call a day. That's it. Opportunities to fuck it up a week. Right? Like, if
That's
you,
normal.
you don't need,
Like, that's the normal.
why are you looking for normal?
You know,
Why are you looking for normal? Why are you looking for normal?
just making sure I'm on the track.
Yeah, because you're scared that you're not on track,
I think that's the theory. Yeah.
right? What if you weren't and you just had to accept you weren't? Right? What if you weren't on track and you had to accept that you weren't on track? And this is not me looking at any numbers, if that makes sense, right? It's how would you handle it if you knew you weren't on track and you had to accept that?
Just like you said, right? Either book more calls, do more calls, increase the volume, close, even if it's a 6%, but still get that volume up.
So does it matter if this one closes, or does it matter if you have the behavior of someone who doesn't care if it closes or not? Because you need to get another 6 to close.
Gotcha. So now tying back to the fear, all that stuff, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore because we're focusing on the next one.
Focusing on the activity and and not on the outcome of those things. Like, build the behavior of getting on 1 sales call per day. And when you start to get good, right? Because do you ever play sport?
Yeah.
What did you play?
Basketball.
Okay.
Oh, but
They did it in flip flops last night. It was fucking hilarious.
Or you, Chris.
not me. Yeah.
I don't
We'll play
fucking- I
ball
don't
one day.
fuck with that shit. I'm 3 foot tall. I'm not trying to play that game.
He's Australian.
And I'm willing to bet that you probably weren't very good at basketball starting.
I used to shoot with like 2 hands as a kid. It was horrible.
He's
like
he's
that.
actually pretty good now. He's just got a big he's okay, right? Like,
Oh, buddy. 100 shots a day, bro. I was making like 80 of them. You guys don't know. And
hold on. Did you hear that though? 100 shots a day, right? Right, like, but the most people aren't even asking 3 people to come to a call per day.
Does that include
Same
like
thing.
triage calls or just pure strategy calls? Not that matters. Just want to.
Yeah, you're a high logistic guy, so I'm not surprised you're asking that question. But my thing is, who cares?
Okay.
Right? Ask one person. I'll change the frame. Ask one person to become a client per day. Right? I'll change the entire for you. Ask one person to become a client per day, because that's entirely different to whether it's a triage call, whether it's a sales call, whether it's a fucking messenger conversation, whether it's an in-person conversation, whether it's, I don't know, I'm going to close the fucking mailman. Do they still have those? The mailman still exists, or it's just Amazon guys now? Amazon guys. Yeah, it's ask one person to become a client per day, and you do that, and then you have 20 people you ask per month. And if you go and look at the past 6 months, how many people you've actually asked to become a client, it's probably been 20 over the past 6 months. And if you just do 20 this month, you probably sell 5 clients because you asked 20 people as opposed to the 1 you normally ask per month, or 3 you normally ask per month. Right? Like, I am the king of just asking, preface this because I know there'll be follow-up questions to this. I'm the king of asking someone I know who should be working with us to work with us. And the way I know they should be working with us because I know enough about them. I know, or I've had conversations with them in the past, or whatever else that it is. Right? I'm prefacing that so that there's no like, do you just mean this? No, I mean, I know the person, I know them well enough, and I know they should be working with us because I know their current situation better than they do. I'm the king of just asking these guys, okay, what's stopping you from working with us? Because I want you to be a client of ours. It is that you need to know or what you need to see that would make you become a client today. Isn't that right, Victor?
I remember that question.
Yeah, that was a great question.
But it's, I'm just the
I've
king of
used
doing
it.
it. I
I've used it.
I don't care. Because like, I'm not scared of the answer. I want the answer. And if I can do it, I'll do it. Like if, with whatever the request is, if whatever the request is within like boundaries, I'll do it. I don't care. Because I'm just looking for what it is that's preventing this person from getting the answer after that. Then boy, I'm doing it. If it's within boundaries, right?
So something
I'm
I'll add
I'm not doing topless waitering anymore. Not doing it.
that you did for us, we were. And I think that's essentially the gist of what you're saying. If that is where we were
In that scenario, yeah. In that
in
scenario,
that
yeah.
scenario.
100%.
And then because you knew help us, and we were like, it's really tight. Very different conversation today, but like, yeah.
So I did the right thing in my opinion, right? Because like because I'm also not thinking about myself, right? When I ask a question like that, I'm actually thinking about. So this is the second time, third time this conversation's come up today. So I want to give you guys some game on this as well, right? Whenever I'm looking at a prospect, or when I start doing this, whenever I see a prospect get to a meaningful conversation in Messenger, and then I carry this psychology the whole way through until I get to a sales call with them. I start thinking about them. I start researching if they have a family. I start researching if they have a team. And I start creating a story in my head of how much their life sucks because they're not working with me. And I start creating a story about how much their life if they can get these problems solved. And I start creating a story about all the things that they've tried. And I visualize that person sitting there. And I did this with you, Victor. I'm sorry, but you know, and I love you. You're part of the band.
No, you're good.
But it's like, I visualize them sitting there with their head in hands. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Saying that to their wife, I'm so sorry for not being able to fix this.
That was a true conversation.
I visualize that. So I go, oh shit, like this is what happens if I don't at least ask the person to work with me. Because I know for a fact I can actually search. I know for a fact they give me access to their account for the next 4 months, and they show me their numbers, and they let me review their calls, and they do what I ask of them. That their life's going to change and change forever. Like I know that for a fact, right? And if I don't do it, then this happens, or it gets worse. And if I do it, then the like what is it that they get as a positive benefit to this that is so much higher, more important, worth every cent times 10 times more, higher and more important than every excuse they give me as to why they shouldn't get started, higher and more important and more beneficial and more better for their life than any fear that they or their family could have around why they shouldn't get started, that they can use as a explainer to why they did get started when they started working with us. I start doing this when I get them to meaningful conversation. I have a level of conviction that I'm thinking about when I'm speaking to the person. I have to ask you to come to a fucking call today. It's a non-fucking negotiable. Because if you don't, your soul, if I don't, like your soul dies a little bit more today. I am hope for you, wrapped in shock therapy. Counts.
Follow up to one of your meaningful deep training videos that you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Probably did some good stuff. I don't know. Ferris, every now and again, says we have good stuff in here. I don't even know anymore.
I told Ferris I dream about that. just carry with me how I talk to people. It's like they need this. Like they need this part, and we just like this is the cherry on top.
Yeah, but they do need it, right? Like they do need the help, or at least like build story inside your head that they do. But start thinking of reasons why they do. But in order to do that, you actually need to know more about the business than they do, or more about their lives than they do. In front of me that I know should be working with me, knowing cold why they say you're the worst person in the world, and say, yeah, it's great. How would you feel if you didn't have the current situation you were experiencing and you were in a much better position? Would you still hate me, or would you just be a little bitch still? I know. It's straight say, I don't give a fuck.
I would think that.
Anyway, so I thought I'd share that game because thinking in terms of consequence around the person in not doing something or doing something is a behavior, a natural thing. And I think that it's been something that has definitely served me well is the best way I can explain it. It served me very well. Any other questions on any of this stuff, guys? Otherwise, we can get into Stefan's questions. Put a Q in the chat twice, and he's probably thinking that I'm the world's worst person in the world. He's probably going to come to Arizona and you can all question what that is at some time, and I'll never want to tell you, but you guys will find out. I just want to say thanks. No, that's cool. I got you, man. I got you.
There's something
I feel so
you said-
American saying that. I got you.
There's something you said.
Picked up.
Yeah, there's something you said that really, I don't remember if it was in Vegas or if it was on one of these calls, but you had mentioned like and I've heard some version of this before, but I think it was where you guys helped me get to. And then hearing it at that point was like, I think the combination that I needed, but it was about you, like it's a gation to follow up with. It's like, otherwise these people are going to work with someone else and get screwed over. Yeah. And then they're not going to be able to work. They're either going to go down this spiral and their whole life's going to derail, or they just won't be able to ever get to where they want to go because they put it there. Now they can't afford to work with me because of what happened. So I need to make sure it's my sole responsibility to make sure I get you did something along those lines, but that's how I interpreted it. That's how I received it. And I think that was super helpful. I think you shred, like if I do all this, why would I like to come in and like a vulture just to take what I've been creating? So,
I mean, like, you buy a girl enough drinks at a bar, she's going home with someone. Right? Like, whether it's you or not, like she's going home with someone. And I think a lot of guys in sales are buying a lot of girls' drinks and letting someone else take it home. Right? And I think that I just don't, I never don't have the courage to ask her to come home with me on a sales call. Because if I've done the right thing in that context, right? It's like, have I actually accurately discerned the problem? Have I found how this would actually change their lives? Do I believe that I can help them create that in their business, but more so than their business, in their life, because the circumstance of their life is more important than their business? And if I believe that I can help do that and also help them or lead them to somewhere where it is not a business outcome, because no one ever wants a business outcome, bro. Like no one wants to be 100 grand a month. Like good on you if you get there. How fucking, oh my God, no one threw a party for me, man. I still haven't seen a stream pop out. There's no balloons. No one gave me anything for getting to 100 grand a month, brother. Right. And, it's right. And what you bought yourself. You do the work to buy belief in yourself. You don't do the work to just get financial accolades or whatever else that it is. Because when you can provide more for your family, to your community, for this or that, whatever else that it is, right? Like my goal is now very fucking money. When I first needed money, it's like, get money. Right? I got money, I was like, oh, I don't care about other shit now. Yeah. So, yes, it is about actually having or a feeling of responsibility for that too, because it is that, right? Like it's obligations, responsibility. It's like, hey, because you also have to, all right, I'll drop another bomb for you guys, right? If you guys don't think your offer is the best in the world, that's your fault, not anyone else's. And it's not because you guys don't have a good offer. It's because you're looking at all the reasons why your offer sucks. Right? Like most of you guys are looking for reasons why your offer isn't good enough, as opposed to looking for reasons why it's fucking great. And you guys should go out there and can tell people if you to your own 2025 BDE and work with me.
yeah,
Right. But if you change the question to in what way is my offer worth 10 times more than any person that I am speaking to right now? In what way is my offer worth 10 times more in whatever objection they could bring up or whatever fear or whatever concern they have? In what way is my offer 10 times more valuable than they could ever see or give me any, concern around?